Hello, this is Cheri. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to draw a young boy. So start by drawing a, it's not quite an oval, but it's not really a circle, kind of a mix between the two, and that's going to be your face. Go ahead and draw your horizontal line, and then you're going to draw one line in the middle, and then you're going to draw 3 more lines to help you with your proportions for the features of the face. And the purpose of this tutorial is not only to teach how to draw a face per se, but how to start a drawing using proper proportions. So the top line here is the eyebrow line. That's where the top of your eyebrows go. The next line down is where you draw the eyes. They're going to be directly below your eyebrows. They look like a couple of lemon wedges or apple slices. Next line is the nose. Just a simple semicircle there for that, and then the mouth, which is, I'm just drawing a straight line with a couple of little the corners drawn in, and then a little semicircle for the lip. The ears, the top of the ear is going to line up with the eyebrow, and the bottom of the ear will line up with the bottom of the nose. And I'm just making those marks on my paper as little reminders so I know where to draw them. And I'm just drawing in a couple of simple shapes for the ears to mark them in. So now that I've got my foundation in place, here's where I'm going to start making definitions, like say outlining the face and putting in the neck to help give this head a connection to a body. And so now I don't need these defining lines anymore. I'm going to erase them. And through the video, you'll notice that once I get the basics of facial anatomy in, I will start drawing in the details all over the place. And this is actually a good skill to use because it keeps you from focusing too intently on one part of the face at a time, which is a mistake a lot of people tend to make because you want to get it just right. When in fact, when that happens is you end up looking at it for so long, and you may do something that puts the proportions out of whack, or you don't like it. So it's important to gradually build up the face together. Instead of just focusing on one part and filling it in detail by detail. So next I'm going to draw the eyes and redefine the shape of the eye for the little boy. And I do apologize that the lines that I was just erasing didn't come off all the way. The pencil I'm using is pretty heavy, so really important when you draw, don't draw too heavy. The reason why I'm using this pencil is so you guys can see what I'm doing. Otherwise, it'll just get washed out in the video recording. So as you can see, I just did the nose. I drew in a couple of nostrils, and then the exterior of the nostrils, and a little kind of a bulbous suggestion of the nose because our noses are a little rounded on the ends. And I'm just going in and defining things gradually, like the bone structure of the face. You've got the chin, and the jawbone, the cheekbone, the brow bone, and you can see I'm very subtly smoothing that out, adding these definitions. When you're drawing children, the details are going to be rounder and smoother and softer than, say, an adult. And the ears there, I'm just drawing in a couple of lines there to define the inner ear. Next, this is the hairline, or I should say the bangs of the little boy. When you're drawing hair, don't think of it as several thousand strands of hair. Just think of it as a object of its own. So I'm just drawing it like this is a cap on the boy's head. And as you can see, I didn't draw it absolutely perfect, when I was drawing it, which is fine. If you mess up, that's why you want to draw light. You're never going to get it perfect absolutely the first time. And here I'm just starting to add a cowlick to give some texture to the boy's hair. And start filling in the bangs too. And this is pretty basic texture. Later on in the video, I'm going to show you how to shade the hair if you want to take it that far. And there may be a point too where you are happy with your piece and you want to keep it simple. You want to stop, and that's fine. There's a lot of decision making that goes on in each drawing that you create. And sometimes it's hard to know when to stop, even for me. Sometimes I have to pull back before I get so carried away that I inevitably overdo a drawing. So this looks pretty good. If you wanted to do a more simple cartoon, like realistic cartoon boy, this would work just fine on its own. But I'm going to take this as far as I can and really push the values and the dimensions. So I'm going to put in a little reflective light on the eye and fill in the pupil. And I think that gives this boy a lot of life by making the eyes more real. Kind of makes him somebody I could actually talk to, if you could imagine it. And there's the upper eyelid creases. Again, just giving more dimension. And I'm outlining the eye a bit more, the lower lid. And I'm giving a little more shape to the nose there, like where the bridge of the nose goes, and darkening the eyebrows. And as I told you before, you can see that I'm not staying in one place on the face. I'm moving around. So that way my values are consistent across the entire drawing. And I decided to darken the boy's eyes a little bit, maybe they're brown eyes. Here's where the structure of the face is starting to show through. It's becoming more realistic. You can see where on the sides of the face, that's where the sides of the skeleton are. So, and also around the nostrils and under the nose. I'm starting to put in a little bit of the upper lip. This is starting to get out of the 2D cartoon look and more into the three-dimensional realm of drawing. And I'll start putting some shadows under, a little more shadows under the nose. Really important that when you are drawing, and I didn't do this to start with because I kind of assume that I have a diffused light whenever I'm drawing a portrait, like right here. But what's going to help your decision making while drawing anything is knowing where your light source is. When you know where your light source is, then you can decide where your highlights are, your midtones, and your shadows, and of course your reflective light, which I'll probably cover that in another lesson, just covering those basics. But this right here, I would just call this maybe a mixture of direct lighting on the front of the boy's face and a little bit of diffused light. And putting in some shadow under the boy's face onto the neck, so you can see that yes, the neck and the face are not flat with each other. And here I'm just putting a little shadow on the ends of the hair so it looks like it's curved a bit more, and now it looks like there's some light on the hair. And where the hair is densest, I'm making it really dark, like on the sides of the head. That's where the hair is going to look really dense from this perspective. And I like this young man's shaggy hairstyle, so I'm gonna really push that look by adding some layers of shaggy hair. And I'm just gradually pushing my values. It's important to have a strong range of values from black to white. Um, and of course your midtones. You gotta have good midtones. That's gonna make for a very interesting drawing. When I was younger, I used to not push my values, and they made for really uninteresting drawings. So do push your values, even if you make mistakes. You know, if you do an area too hard, you're still going to make a very interesting illustration or drawing that way. And you know, look, I'm putting in some more shadows. I added some creases around the lower lid of the eye. This is pushing those values I was telling you about. And I know in another tutorial I mentioned, you know, when making the eye, usually you don't draw the eyelashes, especially if it's a more simple character, if it's a male character. But this is a little boy, and I think he's pretty endearing, so I put in some eyelashes. And there are even some male characters like Megamind where they put in eyelashes, and it worked for the character because it made him very endearing, even though he was a supervillain. The whole point was to get the audience to fall in love with him, and it worked. So eyelashes do work for masculine characters as well. You got to know what you want to do with that character. If you want people to like them, or if you want people to despise them. That's another thing in determining what details to put in a drawing. Are you doing this for realism, or are you making a character? So I'm just pushing my values, pushing my values. It's all gradual. You can see I put in the shadows of the cheekbones, and I'm pushing those shadows some more with the brow bones and the forehead. And this is kind of a pleasant experience after a while. Once you get to this pattern, get used to it, it can be kind of fun. You know, you don't have to think as hard about it if you just keep practicing, which is why I like drawing faces a lot. Putting some dimension on the eyeball so it looks a little bit more spherical, and it doesn't look so flat. And I'm also shading a little bit more of the iris too to give it some more dimension. Just touching up here and there. And I've found that method works really well for me. If you find a different method, that's, you know, explore it. You know, don't feel pressured to follow. You know, for if this is your first time to draw, you know, say this level of detail, by all means, if you want to follow along step by step, that's fine. But it's important too to find your own pattern, your own style of drawing. Because mine's kind of chaotic. I guess it's more sculptural because I find it easier to work with something once I've drawn it, or if it's like clay, if I can mold it. I kind of draw sculpturally. I mold things, so I may add some pencil and really darken it, and then I think, oh, I don't want that anymore, and I'll erase some of it, and it kind of changes. I really sculpt it. Anyway, there is the finished drawing for a young boy. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you learned something really good from it. I wish you all a pleasant day.